Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summer presentation of the GoodPlayGaming Southeastern Asian Invitational Group Stage between Invasion and Zero Latitude. These two teams matched up together in this best of two series. The first game of the two going the way of Invasion. Malaysian Pride winning through with some really good movement across the map and some great carry from Snow. I mean, that anti-mage just hard to deal with when he gets that much farm, and I just don't feel like Zero Latitude were up to that task. So we obviously see them moving forward, and now we're going to see Zero Latitude's answer. They say, screw it, we didn't even look at Lycan last time around. This time we're going to pick it up for ourselves on the Radiant side, interestingly enough. Now, he did get nerfed in the past two patches consecutively. He got nerfed in Shapeshift, bonus HP. He doesn't get that anymore. They just get some armor, crit, okay, a whole slew of things, so I'm not going to go into that. You can read the ability for yourself. But he did also lose some Howl bonus damage as well as the duration of the buff itself. So that does take away a significant percentage of the damage increase that it used to provide. I mean, obviously you're not just raw auto-attacking people the whole time it's up, but even still, it can add up pretty quickly, especially when you consider the minions that are affected and so on and so forth. Anyways, we're going to be looking over at these two sides here. Invasion going to start off with a Mirana Ember combo, and that's pretty interesting, honestly. I mean, the Ember Spirit has a lot of late game potential. As well, his damage output is not inconsiderable when you try to like burn down creep waves with that immolation effect and so on. He can do a lot of work there, and so far they don't have any lockdown against him, so he's looking pretty good. In fact, in the fact that they banned out both the Bat Rider and Doom in Phase 1 really orchestrated this pick to come online, and the Viper isn't really the answer that you usually look for. You can't just kite this guy, you have to lock him down hard. No soft disables for you. So right now, Invasion have two bans. They can just take out any hero that they feel is going to cause them too much grief. The Blink Stun of the Centaur obviously could cause some real issues, so they're going to take that out. And any other hard disable they can take off the table as well. I think a Shadow Shaman would be a really good ban, to be honest with you, because one thing to mention is Lycan is really, really reliant on getting those towers early, and the Shadow Shaman Serpent Wards will help to maybe not pressure a Tier 1, because it's a little late in the game for that, to get the level 6 support, but getting that Tier 2 with the wards with the wolves, it makes it very plausible. So we'll see possibly that coming through. For now, though, it's just going to be some characteristic bans from Zero Latitude. The second phase, they're taking out the Shadow Demon, the Enchantress, supports that Invasion does like to run to try to get some early control over the map. So no Shadow Demon set up for the arrow, no Enchantress micro to try to steal wolves and do all that kind of shenanigan. But there's still a lot of options online for Invasion. If they want to run the Ember Spirit in the mid, they could run the Morphling in the safe lane and run the Mirana as a support or as an offlaner. I'm not too sure. Either way, their final bans out here is going to be the Darkseer, and they're going to pick up the Shadow Shaman for themselves, which I think is a very prime pick. I mean, a long duration disable, either slowing them down with the Hex or actually pinning them down with the Shackles. That's going to set up Mirana's arrow no problem at all. And you really do need to set it up now, because the longer range it is, the more effective it is going to be compared to the way it was in 6.41. In 6.41b, the minimum damage, the minimum stun on the arrow was reduced, and that means at everything but the max range, it is going to be a shorter stun and less damage. But that said, if you can just get a medium to long range stun, or arrow rather, then it's not going to be that impactful of a nerf. It's still going to be a very, very powerful spell. And in its own right, no matter how you fire it, it's going to be a good one as long as it hits. But the Shadow Shaman, they make that happen. They get their own little bit of push pressure. You get the hard lockdown for Lycanthrope with the Shackles, which can deal with Shapeshift pretty well. And you have another target that has to be stunned out. Now you have to stun the Shadow Shaman to interrupt his channeled effect. You have to stun the Mirana to prevent her from leaping. You have to stun the Ember Spirit from doing whatever the hell he wants in the fights. So a good combination of the three. And we'll see that Zero Latitude are still not going for hard lockdown. Like, the Dazzle doesn't get a stun until he's level 7 at least, and usually you're not putting that many points into Poison Touch in the earlier stages. So really, Invasion Esports just can fully exploit this, say, okay, you don't have a single stun on you, we're just going to maneuver around and try to do whatever the heck we feel like. Like, this Bristleback pick is a really I don't give a crap about your draft type pick. He's going to be able to do a lot of sustained physical damage over time, even against Dazzle's Weave, and they're just going to go for this hardcore multi-core lineup because of the fact that they don't feel under pressure. The slows I mean, there's not even a mini stun anymore. It's just literally there's a stun at level 4 poison touch. There's absolutely no hard disables until then. It's kind of blowing my mind. It's like, if this actually works, I'll eat my words. But for right now, I just feel like they're getting outdrafted by themselves. It's not the Invasion are outpicking them. It's that Zero Latitude themselves are getting outpicked by. I mean, they can go for a Vengeful Spirit. Maybe that's still a projectile. You know, they just need to go Ogre Magi, obviously. They just need to bring out the multicasts, bring out the Bloodlust Viper. That's pretty scary. I don't know. At this stage, it's really hard to just call one thing or another because there's so much they need. There's so much that these three heroes don't provide. They provide tower pressure, they provide longevity, but they don't really provide raw teamfight. They don't have good disable. I don't know. We're going to see the Treant Protector come through, and he does have even more longevity, and it does add in that teamfight I was talking about, but the Overgrowth is still something that you can cast during perfectly fine. I believe you can leap with the Entangle effect on you as well, no problem. So Ember Spirit, Mirana, they're still able to maneuver. And there's going to be some real problems coming their way if Invasions start to get farmed. So we'll see what Zero Latitude can do with this. Of course, early health and pressure onto towers is going to be good. They can keep their own towers alive with living armor. They can bring down their opponents with the Lycan. And if they get that gold momentum, maybe it won't matter really what skills they have because they'll have so much as far as items go. But if they just give a Invasion an inch, I feel like they're going to take a mile. They're going to ban out the Visage here, Invasion, into their last pick, and it should be a support. But at this point, who knows? The Sand King is still on the table. I think that's probably what they want to go for. But they also need some counter push, and Sand King doesn't really provide that. So keeping their towers alive, doing good amounts of AoE damage, maybe just want like a Keep of the Light or something, I'm not too sure. We have seen some teams in the Southeastern Asian scene run Bristleback with a Wisp, and that's pretty interesting to watch too. The overcharge, giving them an extra tank, and allowing him to close the distance more with great mobility. But not great against the other lineups, so I wouldn't recommend him. I don't know. It really, whatever they kind of feel will fit the bill here. Vengeful Spirit, Bane, they're all good. They all work out pretty well. But I do like the aspect of Bane having that guaranteed channeled disable that will really cause Lycanthrope problems because he'll try to shapeshift, he'll try to run away, and that's when the Fiend's Grip really locks him down because he can't escape. And they don't really have a way to stop the channel. Again, the channels are going to persist. The only way they stop a channeled effect is with a bash later on with Lycan, with an overgrowth, and it has to be the initial cast. They can obviously channel after the fact, or they have to wait 3 seconds for the dazzle. So they're going to go for their final pick here, Liberated Fatality running on the Axe. And we'll see how this plays out. I'm not 100% confident in it, but I mean, they do have a very early game active team. They've got Lycan, Dazzle, Treant, Axe. I mean, these are heroes that can do a lot of stuff within the first 2 or 3 levels of the game. So maybe they'll go for some crazy shenanigans, creep cutting, and getting extremely aggressive and active, and try to shut down the laning phase entirely and make this into some crazy, I don't know, fight or flight type scenario rather than the full-on laning phase that you're used to in competitive Dota 2. So we'll see the heroes selected by the players very abruptly. Then we'll probably get a quick little pause, get the players calibrated and ready to go for the game ahead. Now I want to mention that Easy G88, which was probably one of the prime players in Invasion's early game, in game number 1, is going to be running on this Ember Spirit, a very high impact hero in the right situation. So I think that he's going to be able to do some work, but we'll obviously see how much farm he gets to kind of make that a reality. Anyways, let's go through, since I think that Zero Latitude are going to be going for some early skirmishes. Let's go ahead for a very quick introduction of the two teams. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the GoodPlayGaming Southeastern Asian Invitational Group Stage here. This is Game 2 of the Best of 2/2 game series, and Invasion is already up by 1 point, getting the first actual point on the scoreboard in comparison to Arrow, who trounced them 2-0 the other day. So they're currently sitting at 1 for 2. They want to go make it to 2 for 2 in total. But yeah, so looking over at the sides here, Zero Latitude representing Indonesia. We do see it's going to be Phoenix running on the support Dazzle, Indigo running on the support Tree and Protector. Both of them ready to get very active alongside Axe, played by Liberty Fatale. Played the offlane Puck last time around. This time he's reinforced. And it looks like they do want to go for some shenanigans. Go for some high pressure, early game tempo, high octane Dota 2. Anyways, the other two members are going to be Nivis on the solo Viper lane. Same as before, and Shing of Throw is going to be running on this safe lane solo Lycanthrope versus the Bristleback. If he gets a magic stick, I think he'll be pretty fine in that matchup, and he'll be able to provide a ton of Howl to his allies. In fact, he might max Howl first before the Wolves, because it now is required in order for it to scale. In either case, we're going to be looking over at the side of Invasion. ADTR, the captain, going to be looking at the Bane with boots first. Trying to make things happen very early on here with this hero. In the meantime, it's going to be EZG88 to this time take up the safe lane core of the Ember Spirit rather than the mid lane. In the mid, it's going to be left to Snow on the Mirana. So he's going to have the easier lane to some extent. I mean, I can't really call it really easy when it's a 52 base damage Mirana trying to last hit against a Viper, but you know, it's there. The Howl is going to come out at level 1 already, so they are really looking for this early damage, and Nivis is getting some good free hits onto Snow, and using the poison attack manually makes it so that he doesn't take creep aggro. Aggro is going to be actually a very important thing for this game here, whether the creeps are aggroing on the Viper or not, whether the Axe is getting the creeps intentionally to fight him in order to proc that counter Helix. But we are going to see a movement here. It's going to be a dual lane, 2 versus 1. ADTR are going to try to go for maybe some Nightmare into Arrow setups. And with the base duration of 4 seconds, you can be back here and fire some arrows out across the map. You just have to have the right position, the right English, the right flank. In the meantime, I think I've covered pretty much everything but Ghost down here. Bristleback is offlaning there, trying to do what he can, and Lycan currently doesn't have anything as far as Magic 6 goes, but here comes the dives. Like I said, Liberty Fatale, he wants the creep cut, and the best place for him is behind enemy lines here. He's just kind of cutting past the tower, burning down the creep wave, and it's something that really Ember Spirit doesn't have the tools to deal with early. So all three of these guys grouped up together, they have the heal, they have the sustain, and they have some pretty good control. That being said, the Bane is going to rotate right back up top. He does have a ranged attack of 400, the Shadow Shaman boasting 500 as well. So they can do some auto attacks outside of the counter Helix range, but if they tempt fate too much, as FCFC will, he's going to get taunted up, and this could be bad. Leech Seed, the heal comes out, and the first blood is spilled by Phoenix. Now the immolation from Ember Spirit. He's trying to Flame Guard, trying to do some damage here to the Dazzle, but they're just bouncing around this Nightmare intentionally, and it's actually going to get him away pretty easily. In fact, he's baiting again. He's going to get healed up by the Living Armor, using the wave, trying to bring down the low armor Ember Spirit, but the last right clicks aren't going to be enough. Instead, they taunt the Creep Wave on top of the Bane, almost bring him down just with spins alone. But the only one to follow here is going to be the Dazzle. Now Liberty Fatality in turn will drop. So Indigo's in a bad spot here. Snow has the arrow after the Nightmare if that's what he wants to go with. Quick little stun, and they should be able to pin him down easy. He doesn't have anything available. So in the end, it blows up in their face. They wanted to go for something crazy, something with amazing early tempo, and although they do create some space for Shing of Throw as well as Nivis, they themselves end up feeding 1 for 3. The first blood, however, did go to Dazzle, and that means he will have Boots of Speed along with his Magic Stick at a very early timing. I don't know, it feels gimmicky. Like, I see this working with, like, a level 1 Roche, but this is a Radiant Draft. Like, they need momentum, and they just don't have it. In fact, it's been thrown in their face as they're able to just be cremated by their opposition. So they wanted to just decimate this laning phase, give Invasion no quarters, and really kind of pull out the pub strats to win the game, but not going to work out here. Instead, they're just going to try to do their best to control their solo lane's CS boards. If you look at it, it's 20 for 15 in favor of the Viper, leaving them run at only 4 for 2. And that just comes down to right-click potential. You look at it, the now 60 damage Mirana against a 63 damage Viper, but he's got the Nether Toxin and can last hit like a boss. Back and forth, Corrosive and Poison doing some work, but the action's going to be up here on Liberty Fatale. He's going in once again, a big taunt coming through. It's still spinning so much with this wave. He's going to sustain for a bit, but they don't have Grave. They do not have Grave. They can't keep him up, and it's going to be the Ember Spirit to die with the last right click of the Dazzle. So a lot of close calls here. Might get in range for the Leech Seed on the Bane. That would be huge, but instead they turn to FCFC. The relatively slow Shadow Shaman, but he has those boots of speed. So they have to go for a dive. Now, they're going to go for Poison Touch into Leech Seed on FCFC, but that's setting them up for a turnaround. EZG88 is back with full mana, full HP. He's going to make something happen here. Can they keep Bane up, though? He is so tanky with 4 armor. They're going to lose the Shadow Shaman, but they pick up the Bane, and now they're looking for Indigo, though. Ember Spirit's on the run. Bane makes, Rana makes a rotation. She brings down the Treant and is now going to look for the Axe, so I think he's a little bit too far forward. So, yeah, this is a game. This is a game of Dota 2. Believe it or not. 3 for 6, currently in favor of Invasion and Ember Spirit, limping around, just trying to get a couple of last right clicks in before he heads back to base. In the meantime, down bottom, Ghost is kind of given the free lane opportunity. He's not doing as hot as far as CS goes. He's 27 for 1, whereas Lycan is 29 for 4, but some of that's just from jungle creeps. Like, these easy camps don't give nearly as much gold per last hit, comparatively speaking. So maybe not as efficient as you'd expect it to be, and the end result is that Bristleback will be able to make rotations to join these fights. And, you know, when you start at, again, like a level 7 Bristleback, then mid... Wow. I just, like, my brain exploded when I saw this passive. I don't understand this build in full. I don't understand why you wouldn't want max kill spray on a BB, but we can talk about that later. There's too much action on the map to really discuss intricacies of skill builds of certain heroes, but we are going to see the Invisrune set up a shackle onto Nivis. Now, it's not the longest range of arrow, but it's still enough to bring him extremely low. He pops the Magic Stick, just trying to survive, but the Starstorm connecting here will set the kill. No, Ember Spirit. They cancel the Starstorm. They go in for the last hit, and it's going to be a clean one for EZG88. So they're going to try to bring down this Tier 1 tower as their top falls. Fortification expended. And it's just like a passive lane between these two. That's so interesting. They really don't have anything to really force the opponent back. They have no incentive to really pressure out the other because they're just going to run out of mana. Anyways, Bristleback has his Vanguard before Boots of Speed. Pretty standard. And he's going to make his way maybe towards the top. He's pretty much a tank right now. Like, he doesn't go quick, but his ultimate gives him some movement speed here. He's going to TP right in, and if Liberating Fatality goes for the taunt, he'll control the direction of this Bristleback, but it's just going to be a bait as they go in forward. The Nightmare comes out on the Treant Protector. The ultimate, however, onto Shadow Shaman. FCFC is going to drop first, and now they're going to try to bring down Bristleback. They still don't have an ultimate, and the Spines are doing a lot of damage here, but they Shallow Grave him up to keep him. Now, Ember Spirit looking for the Searing Chains. Does get it on Dazzle, so the Axe and the Dazzle will both fall, and yeah, these are like dominoes right now. You get one, you get the rest, and it is going to bring it to 10 for 4. Now, down bottom, we're trying to defend down bottom. With the shackles in range, they could have put some real damage into seeing a throw, but no arrow. I don't think it would have been a kill. It just would have been a good amount to push back that Lycan. Speaking of the Lycan, he's finished up his Vladimir's Offering, and he is going to be farming up the jungle. So he is having the only game of passivity in this entire one. Everybody else has seen some action. They've seen things. But yeah, one thing I was going to talk about before, and I guess we do have just a little brief moment in the game to discuss it, is the fact that he went for 3 points in the Bristleback passive first. It means that essentially whenever he gets taunted, he feels very vulnerable because his opponents can just face him head on, and they won't be afflicted by the sideline, the side mitigation or the back mitigation. They get to control his direction because they have an Axe, and then when it comes down to it, you also have the Culling Blade. If Axe was level 6, then the Culling Blade would ignore Bristleback's passive entirely. He'd just wait for him to be under kill threshold, and then he's dead. It's black and white. You're either dead or not dead. There's no way to absorb some of that. So the kill threshold is 250. Now that he has Vanguard, that's actually pretty low. It's down here as far as the health bar goes. But earlier, prior to that, I was worried that might cause him some difficulty. In the end, he gets his levels. He's up to level 8 after that fight, and now he has the max Quill Spray to send out. Lycan, relatively low on mana. They're going to try to pursue onto Bane, but the target of choice is actually going to be Bristleback. Now, let's see that taunt at work. The Nightmare comes through. It actually does a lot of work here because Bristleback is going to get it the second time around. So they come in with the shackles. No way to interrupt it. They get the kill on Dazzle before the fight even begins. And now look at the Ghost go. He keeps on hammering it through with Quill Spray after Quill Spray. They get to finish it off with the chase potential of the now level 7 Ember Spirit. And that might be able to dive Nivis as well, though they are a little dry as far as health, as far as mana goes. Looks like they'll let that fish go, but even still, taking 2 hero kills, dropping the wards in the tower, and getting a tremendous amount of gold advantage for this game. Still have to watch themselves. These wolves do have a crit passive. They'll pursue him to the bitter end. That is only a 2 armor Ember Spirit. So they're probably in Shapeshift. They're trying to bring down Bane, but don't think it's going to actually happen. Shadow Shaman gets the last hit on the tier 1. Now, going to get the Searing Chains, keeping Sheen of Throw away, and Shapeshift's about to expire. Like, he wants Snow badly, but the Phase Boots, oh, the dunk. They get the movement speed boost. Can they chain this up, though? Going for a double dunk. That's a triple kill for him. Brings down first the Shadow Shaman, who was trying to last hit that tower. Sure, he accomplished just that, but they were able to build steam and momentum based off of that. So what they've been looking for all game long, and now they finally have it. They get no kill streaks, just raw gold out of it, but a triple kill is always going to make an Axe happy. He gets a Blink Dagger. He's going to go in for a Blink Call shortly, and this actually might be the comeback for Zero Latitude. Like, there was a pretty big lead here, 2,200 in a very early stage, but now the Fiend's Grip coming out onto Axe here. He's tanky as all get out, but can he persist against the magic damage? There's the Shallow Grave to keep him up. Now Shackles onto Lycan. He has no Shapeshift, the magic stick, essentially just buying time that he doesn't have. He'll be Ether Shock down, Phoenix on the run. They're trying to get at least one more, but without Viscous Nasal Goo, it's difficult. Liberty Vitality with the very, very man mode chest out Dota. Blinks in to try to bail the Viper out. Indigo getting healed up by the Leech Seed here, but the arrow, oh, just threading by. Nivet's going to get shackled up. It looks like he's gone. Living Armor or not, there's just too much against him, and he will fall. Still, I mean, you got to commend him for trying. That was quite a blink taunt from the Axe. He really wanted that to turn in their favor, but it's just so difficult at this stage. Arrow's actually going to hit pretty well onto Phoenix here. He has his heal. It might be enough. The last Star Call won't come through. He wasn't in the closer proximity range, so he's going to be just fine. Dazzle will walk away. Snow leaping out. And this game is just ramping up. It's really, like, I thought I was going to get a bit of a break for this one because of how passive some of the players were being, but no, my throat's going to be hoarse by the end of this one. Still a great game, a great day of Dota. And now we're going to see an attempt to blink taunt go awry with 10 seconds on that CD. And they're just going to go ahead and bring down Liberty Fatality with this arrow. Brain Sap, there's the combo. Just a little bit of nuke, but a mech is already up on Nivus. They're actually going to keep him alive. He's going to tank through it, and now the damage comes onto the Ember Spirit. Moonlight Shadow, is it enough? The last right click needs to come through, but it's disjointed. And he survives with the bottle and the urn. Now another arrow, but the Nightmare is interrupted fast enough, but it's going to be a Brain Sap again with the Axe. He really wants to go for these kills. He wants to man up, but he just doesn't have the HP to back it up. It's not like he's got that, 8-minute Vanguard that we saw the Bristleback get. Instead, it's FCFC dropping the Ward Trap onto Indigo. The arrow as well. The Shallow Grave will only delay the inevitable. He's not getting out of this one, and he knows it. Now we're going to see Ember Spirit with the double damage rune pursue, but take a lot of damage. Bottle Magic 1, he has to sustain. Bottling up as much as he can, but it's not enough. The corrosive skin and the right clicks. He will fall despite the DD. Now Axe is back in, but he messes up the Culling Blade, and that's a fatal error right there. They can't build momentum. They still get the kill, but it's on cooldown. They can't keep culling. So they get dropped down, losing Axe. Now Nivus trying to kite as best he can with that Enfeeble, cutting off half of his DPS. Still, the mechanism timing is really good for them. They needed that to stay in the fights and keep Dazzle and Treant active. And active they are. They're going for Bracer Gaming right now and a little bit of Arcanes for Phoenix's sustain. They really want to push, and they're going to go for it once again here. Ember Spirit with the Max Flame Guard doing some good damage to all these creeps, but Dazzle with the Shadow Wave answering in turn. Mechanism build coming up for Bristleback pretty quickly too. And if they just get one set of Arcane Boots, they do have one on the Bane. Yeah, they're going to be okay to make sure that he can at least get the mech off, as well as a good number of Cool Sprays. Double Bottle is also actually working out for them quite effectively here, because essentially they're able to just leave the fight for a couple of seconds and then bottle themselves back up to, not full HP, but back up above half, taking themselves away from the kill threshold of the Axe. Speaking of the Axe, he opted for the Chainmail, so he's got a lot of armor to boast right now. He's looking at 17 because of those Tranquils. And we'll see if he can make use of it For right now, though, it's going to be just a casual arrow onto Lycan, and they're going to still initiate. Despite their Lycan being disabled, they immediately bring down the Bane. Now looking for one more. FC dropping extremely low, has wards, but doesn't get the chance to use them. Instead, it's going to be them pursuing to the bitter end, and with this taunt coming through, Ghost is in a really bad spot. They're dealing front-loaded damage to him, and now they overgrowth him in. So they're going to get the call. Chop off with his head, and they're going to take the tier 1 on top of this. This is insane, guys. Are they going to go for Roche off of this? I think they could, but for right now, their sights are set on this tier 2 with these wolves still up and kicking. They have the Vlad's push. They have the armor. The arrow will fly onto Lycan once again, but yeah, he's just there for the wolves. He's there for the Howl and the Vlad's aura itself. They take it, and they are actually pulling ahead in this game to some extent. You look at the graphs, and they're actually doing this, guys. This is a gimmicky lineup that needs this forward momentum, but they have actually obtained it. It's going to take Invasion to essentially obtain a comeback in order to pull themselves right back in this one. Ember Spirit looking for drums just to fight more actively. Battle Fury is not on the shopping list for some time. It's such a slow item to build up. Still, it looks like they're going to go for Roshan here with the Serpent Wards committed. Viscous Nasal Goo is a great spell to do Roche with. They're going to continuously reduce the armor. Serpent Ward's going to pretty much follow through with that, but where's Axe? Here he is, Blink Dagger up, 3 points in that taunt, and he's going to go in right on top of the Bane. They're going to try to take him out of the fight without Fiend's gripping, but he gets the Brain Sap off, and he's going to Nightmare himself. Very nicely done. The Shackles out onto Nivis, but ADTR is still dropping low. He will not survive, but the Roche will go in favor of Invasion. Second life up on Ember Spirit. He's going to pursue on to his next target. Hex on Viper. They had a split, but Indigo is out of sight. Perhaps out of mind as well as he pursues. He wants to Leech Seed on somebody, but both are invis. The Moonlight Shadow is currently active. Still, he's going to leech onto ECG88. He has 3, uses a Fire Remnant, and he doesn't get hit by the taunt. So instead, Searing Chains onto 1. They try to follow that up with an arrow. It will hit Indigo, and that's going to be a Starstorm. Perhaps a kill. No, they're too tanky for that. They couldn't possibly. They're just going to try to defend in their base. Snow leaping back in. Oh, that taunt was so close, though. Liberator Futility really fishing for those attempts. FCFC needs to back off here. The Shackle's kind of wasted there, but I don't think he can die to the wolves or anything. They just need to get back to the fountain. They need to recharge. They need to hold this position. Luckily for them, Zero Latitude don't have the full high ground potential yet. Their Weave is on cooldown. Their Shadow Wave is running out of steam with the fact that the mana is being exhausted. And they know the Aegis is... Nope, not still up. Actually... I don't know. My brain's so fried after this match. It's just been so active. I don't even know where the immortality went. Obviously, they killed him. I just forget that exact moment in which they did. So they go for the tier 2 here. And, yeah, they're going to be able to take that no trouble at all. The push momentum for this team is absolutely absurd.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
So they're going to try to just continue the push train. They go in for the taunt. They get a taunt to Ember. Huge kill right here. Bringing down Ember for 33 full seconds. No buyback available, and they're diving deep. The wards will keep FCFC a little bit protected, a little bit of a buffer zone there, but it's just proccing more stuns. The counter helix comes through, and not only does Axe live, but he gets a very nice kill on Shadow Shaman. They clean up the wards. Now Fiend's Grip on the Shingo Throw. Is it enough to bring him down? Yes! They get him, but Liberty, he again, man mode, blinks into his death. And this is really causing a lot of problems. They can't feed like this. It's costing them too much. Can they bring down Indigo? Yes, they can. TP away, not fast enough, and they will get the Viscous Nasal Goo on Phoenix. Phoenix has no TP scroll, and as such, he won't be able to escape. If he had it, there's no mana for Arrow. He might have been able to get out, but instead he's locked in place. And speaking of, Nightmare will follow through. Can they get this Arrow, though? They need some incredible body blocks, and ADTR goes the wrong route. So I don't think this is happening, but they control the bottom rune. They get back map control, and they hold their tier 3. So things are looking better for Invasion already. But, whoa! ADTR going into Radiant territory, tried to TP out, but they still have a couple tricks up their sleeve. Axe blinks in for the big chop. What the hell is this game, guys? I do not even know. This is absolutely insane. Zero Latitude putting up their dukes, but despite hitting them with their best shot, Invasion just pulls it right back into their territory here. Fiend's Grip on cooldown for 28. I think this is essentially an all-in coming out from Zero Latitude. Like, they can't even wait for the next roast to respawn. It's too much time. So they're going to go in, and I think they really do need to win with this next push. If not that, then the one after that. They're going in here, Axe blinking in aggressively. Bristleback's the target of choice, though. He taunts him, but do they have enough damage to bring him down? He's so tanky. Vanguard Mechanism trying to stay alive. The arrow out onto Axe, and Bristleback is Overgrowth up. 40 seconds of the grave, but the Serpent Wards come out. Enough return damage that they can repel them from the base and maybe pick up some kills. The Axe already gone once again. No surprise there. He's just so ballsy with his initiation. But they force them back. They pop the double damage rune and the Serpent Wards. And that kill doesn't end up costing them any structural damage. Quick item progression. I guess I haven't been clicking everybody because there's just too much going on. So get a good look at that one, guys. For anybody curious, Desolator up on Lycan. And Ember Spirit maybe Battlefield long term. Now we see Enfeebles coming out, Ether Shock flying, arrow onto Creep, unfortunately, but Liberate Fatality is still locked in that Fiend's Grip. One of the few heroes that can actually stop a channeled effect is finally Fiend's Grip, and that is going to cost them dearly. Overgrowth still on cooldown for 20 full seconds. They're going ham onto Nivis, but he's too tanky. Vit Booster, Treads, Mechanism, and maxed. Corrosive Skin, they're going to die against his poison over time. So they buy back ×2, Ember Spirit back in, Shadow Shaman back in. This is the last stand. If they can hold this, they win the game, I believe. But either way, Indigo, taking a lot of hits, still will survive just barely within the tree line here. Detection, guys, it's pretty important, but I can understand messing that up in a game as hectic as this. There's just too much to keep track of. Nightmare coming out onto Phoenix. It's going to be Shing of Throw to try to go for the Lycanthrope shapeshift play. He does get shackled, but of course the Shadow Shaman dies to the Viper, so a great overgrowth from Indigo. They're actually winning this. They're cleaning it up. Some big damage coming out. The Wolves doing a huge amount of damage. Double kill for Nivis, and about to be a triple. They're going to be able to take him to the grave as well, but it's going to be Phoenix to secure the kill. So they did their best, but they grouped up a little hard. Some great waves coming out from the Dazzle. Those were legitimate heal bombs coming out from the Shadow Priest. So they turn it around. The Desolator right-clicks, reducing armor. The crits coming through. All the stars aligning, and they're going to push onto this tier 3. Can they actually do this? Oh my gosh, they have to do it now. That's for certain, but they've already taken so many kills. They brought it back even, 26 for 26. Oh my goodness, this is such an awesome game. It's hardly like what you'd expect from a competitive match of Dota 2, but all the same, you know, SCA Dota, they bring something that is beyond just entertaining. The Deny won't come out on the racks. It's going to be the last hit to the Lycan, 355 gold in the pocket, and on top of that, of course, the big deal is that they just forced an ultimate CD and still took racks. So now, although Roche respawn is probably still going to be a lot longer than they'd like, they have taken control of the map. They are... Oh, no. Snow walking into no man's land here, and he's just not tanky enough to deal with it. The mech not even up in time, and now they're going to get 2. Overgrowth going for another chop, double chop, and the GG is called! Zero Latitude just did this! Are you kidding me? That was such a game! Like, you could tell what they were going for with that tri-lane up top, but to think that it would actually work after they get killed off 3 times over? Remind you guys, the aggro tri-lane went 1 for 3 at the start, and they were getting repelled left and right. But in the end, the Invasion just can't hold it. There's too much tempo from Zero Latitude, and they bring this group stage best of 2 to an even 1-1. For those that don't understand the 2-game series, that is it for the match. There is no Game 3. It's all about points they can put on the scoreboard to try to get themselves better standings in the group. So there is no Game 3. It's not about winning the match. It's about bringing it to an even draw, and Zero Latitude do just that. Restore some pride in their Indonesian fan base, and in general, just bring us a hell of a game of Dota. I loved that game so much, and it's a great note to end on, because if I had any games to follow this one, my throat would be absolutely hoarse. Oh, wow. 22 minutes and 16 seconds. It's a 28-16 kill lead. The lead brings Zero Latitude to a 1-1 victory. They draw it even. They get some actual points on the board in their first 2-game series here in the GoodPlayGaming Southeastern Asian Invitational group stages. Wow. There's not much more to do to follow that one up. You can see the scores for yourself. Some awesome plays a little bit of throws, but that's what Dota's all about. There was such a interesting back and forth, and in the end, Zero Latitude bring it home. Happy to be able to cast this game for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Did my best here despite being up for casting for the last 11 hours with just a few hours in between as a break. So hopefully it was good. I can't imagine that there were any hype issues in that game. That was just too exciting not to be hype about. In the end, thank you guys for tuning in once again to Beyond the Summit. Happy to be able to bring you guys this game. I am Blaze. And yeah, look me up on twitter.com/blazecasting if you want to follow me and hear more from me in the future. That's where I broadcast wherever I'm going live. So it's been a pleasure, it's been a privilege, and it has been an awesome day of Dota. Until next time, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have a good one. Beyond the Summit signing off.